What's up, everybody? Welcome to another DualShockers ranking video. We are here today to rank the 3D Mario games to coincide with the release of Super Mario 3D All-Stars on the Switch. I am the host, technically, Cameron Hawkins. I'm a staff writer over at DualShockers.com, and today I'm with Sam Woods, another staff writer over at DualShockers, Nick Blaine, a part of our video team, and two special guests. We got Asa Greenriver from Borderline Entertainment and Brenden Groom from Pass the Controller. We are a bunch of Mario fans on different levels. Some of us have played all of them. Some of us have played, a good amount of them. Some of us have played two of them. So the way we're gonna go about this is that we're going to start from Mario 64 all the way to Odyssey. We're including 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2, 3D World, 3D Land, and Odyssey. So 7 games. We're going to discuss them all and give our feelings about them, and then we're going to rank them down the line. And there will also be an article on the website later today that will, go more into detail on that as well. So without further ado, let's start with Super Mario 64. So how do we feel about Super Mario 64 all these years later, guys?
It's a good game.
It's the best Mario game, and it's number one on the list.
Whoa.
We can end the discussion here.
This moderator job is going to be a lot harder than I thought.
I disagree.
Default's the number
that
one
a lot. So,
man, if going back to like 96, 97, maybe 99, when I was a little bit older, that game had it all. If you look at where we are in gaming today, like Mario 64 led the way.
But I don't want to stand on what it did for the industry. I just want to talk about it as a game.
Okay, and going back to playing it now, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is a fantastic game. Is it the best one? No. What? Get out of here.
Yeah, I agree. I think like, here's the thing. I want to say, like, just flat statement right now. All of these games on this list are like 9 out of 10 at the worst. Like,
yes.
You know what I mean? Like, all of these games are absolutely fantastic games. None of these games are bad. When we say like Super Mario 64 is a number, like, we say that, oh, Super Mario 64 is at number 1. That does not mean that we think that it is a bad game. It is in no way a bad game. It is a fantastic game. It led the way for, 3D platforming for years now. And, even though some people think Banjo-Kazooie is better than Mario 64,
it's not.
Like, we're not going to go into that conversation. We're not going to go into that conversation. But for me personally, just comparing them to all the other 3D Mario games that I've played, I feel like, again, still think it's a great game, Sam. I think that the level design and just the size of the game and the length of the game just doesn't compare to most of the other games going down in the future. I think that I don't know. I just think that, what you said, like Super Mario 64 was like the stepping stone, and then like almost every other game that Nintendo made for 3D after that was just a better version of that, a bigger or better version of that. So that's kind of how I feel about 64. Granted, it's been a while since I played Super Mario 64. So I'm obviously I'm getting 3D All Stars, and I actually plan on playing through all of the 3D Mario games, probably sometime in the beginning of next year. My opinion may change, but just right now in this current circumstance, I don't know. I definitely don't think it's number 1 out of the 7. So anyone else?
I may have exaggerated with number 1, but I'm 3D All Stars has been out. I got it at midday here, so I've probably played 5 or 6 hours. I'm nearly 60 stars in. It still holds up. I mean, there's some camera issues and 100%. Some weird level design issues, but how many other games in the early 3D era can you truly say still hold up today? Like a handful.
It's like Super Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, like, those are, I would say, like 3 of the bigger ones. So yeah, no, I totally agree. It definitely is probably going to be a timeless game. in that sense, and I do think that does speak a lot for that game. But for me, I don't think it's number one personally. Brennan.
I think it's important to bring up, especially because like it's going to be kind of interesting to rank some of these the later we get, just because like Super Mario 64 came out in 1996 and Super Mario Odyssey came out in 2017. So obviously a lot has changed in gaming in general from then to now. But I think it'll be important to point out, especially as we go through these games, like what did Mario 64 do that has had ripple effects, and how many of these other games have had ripple effects on not only the gaming industry, but 3D platformers. So I think you'll see that footprint getting much smaller as we go through these later released games. And I think that's important to point out, especially when talking about Mario 64, where have some of the other 3D Mario games done things differently or better since then? Probably, but have they affected future 3D platformers or 3D Mario games afterwards?
Well, even games in general. I mean, like, as 64 is one of the two Super Mario 3D games that I've played. It was so interesting going from, Mario on the SNES to Mario 3D, like tangible 3D, and then the opening of, pulling his cheeks or his face in different directions. Like, I think that in terms of its relevance in the industry and what it has done for the industry cannot be understated. But I do think that also it is a entry level thing in the time that the 3D was coming out. So I think that I think that it's harder to go back to, but also I haven't gone back to it since.
Yep. The last time I went back to it was on the DS.
Yeah, because I was just gonna say I was planning on like getting the DS version until the rumors came out earlier this year about it coming to Switch, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, I'll just hope that this actually happens before the end of the year. So I'm excited to replay it. But go on, Asa. I'm sorry.
I mean, no, I was just gonna say it because I mean, yes, you can't deny its footprint and what it did for the industry. But for me, like when I think of ranking, I just want to think of like how much fun I had with that game and like what did it do that still I think about those memories. And while I didn't play it on DS to completion, I still played a good chunk of it. So it's not like I can't think so far back into 96 that I can't remember anything. But it's only like a couple memories that really stick out to me. Once we get to the other games, now those games I think about all the time. And I think about the experiences that I had with those. So like looking up at the painting and getting the wings and flying for the first time, just experimenting, jumping and sliding and flipping and doing all of that. It felt like nothing that I had ever felt before. I was so surprised to see how they translated the tight, concise platforming from the 2D games into a 3D game. And I didn't think that was possible. And that's really what sticks out to me from 64.
Yeah, definitely. But so like obviously again, we all think that it is a very important game, a very great game, and I'm sure that we're all looking forward to replaying it, or like others visiting it for the first time with 3D All Stars. So we'll go, we'll call it there on 64, and then next up we have Super Mario Sunshine, probably the most divisive 3D Mario title.
And it shouldn't be.
Through my personal experience, people either find Sunshine to be one of the best or one of the worst in the 3D series of Mario games. For me personally, I love Sunshine. I absolutely adore Sunshine. I think that the flood mechanic is just so unique and creative that we still haven't gotten something so creative since it in the Mario franchise. Like maybe Odyssey with the cap, but even the flood. I just think the flood with how key it is to the gameplay and the level design is just so cool and so different. And that for me just is a lot of, it gives a lot of points to it for me personally. And it's just like we get new Mario suits and things like that, like Cat Mario in 3D World and like the B Mario in Galaxy, but we don't get like straight up mechanics, like a new mechanic that the game is centered around. And like, yes, we got it in Odyssey, but I think, and I've played a decent amount of Odyssey. I haven't completed it yet. I'm just endless backlog. But I think that it's just such a cool mechanic that I had such fond memories playing with. And you didn't have to deal with really any motion controls yet, which further Mario games implement and things like that. That I absolutely love Sunshine.
Yeah, Sunshine is in my top of 3D Mario games. Honestly, I would probably put it at number 2 for me personally.
Same thing for me personally.
I don't want to force it upon anybody yet because we're only 2 entries in, but Sunshine needs to be up there because, listen, we just talked about like what 64 did for Mario games moving forward. Whether you see it or not, I feel like Sunshine did the same exact thing, primarily with Flood. Like, I don't think we would have gotten Cappy, and we just wouldn't have gotten Odyssey, period, if it wasn't for Sunshine.
I hard disagree with that.
The one thing I wanted to say before Brenden gets into the tirade of Sunshine is what's interesting is like going. It's Nintendo. You can tell it's Nintendo going from being, even as an outsider, you can tell it's Nintendo going from creating the revolutionary Super Mario 64 and then trying to do that again with Sunshine by adding this mechanic and adding something that's right after doing 64. Right after doing this big 3D thing, they kept trying to do more innovative things, and I think that's something that can't also be understated.
I agree with that. I want to preface what I say with, here is my copy of Super Mario Sunshine. I do not dislike Super Mario Sunshine.
Good.
But I think Cappy is more I think Cappy is more of a evolution of the galaxy, like spinning and throwing stars and stuff. I mean, you can make an argument either way, but I think
it's a platforming mechanic.
Yeah. So I'll throw this back out there and say, I think there's a reason why subsequent Mario games have moved away from adding in permanent mechanic as to power-ups. I think there's a reason why, and I think Sunshine is probably that reason. They tried to do something different, but I think Mario at its essence is about like tight jumps and running. Like, I think that's what it's at its core, and I think Sunshine, which again, I don't dislike Flood, I don't dislike Sunshine. I just think Sunshine tried to break the mold and didn't do what I think they were hoping it would do.
Well, and as much as I love Sunshine, and your statement stung a little bit, I can't disagree because my GameCube is still plugged in. Like, it's one of my favorite consoles of all time, and that was an era where Nintendo was just doing something different with literally everything that they did.
Yeah,
that's where we got Wind Waker.
Yeah, exactly.
And GameCube is like, there's so many beloved games on GameCube, and that's like I think kind of backs what me and Asa are saying, is that like just Nintendo was just weird in the GameCube era, and like there's like ever since basically the Wii U came out, where we knew that we couldn't play GameCube games on our current Nintendo systems, we were just like, port all the GameCube games. Like, we want the GameCube games.
They didn't port Sunshine though. Let's be very clear. They ported Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. They did not port Sunshine.
And Wind Waker,
I think to what you said though, it was
so good.
Yes.
It wasn't because of Sunshine that they didn't do anything. Again, I think it was just the GameCube period, because the same thing with Zelda. They didn't, I mean, of course they did with like the DS games, but they didn't keep that same aesthetic as they did for Wind Waker. I mean, look what the drastic change they did with Twilight Princess. And yes, they brought back the cell shaded aspect, but they never really went back to that Toon Link and Star Fox Adventures, even though it was technically a different game. Like, that GameCube era, I think itself was very contained, and that's why you didn't see it again, not necessarily because any game was a blunder.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I think, maybe this is just like me overthinking things, or maybe this is me like God brain mode, but I feel like that Nintendo is very particular about the games that they port, in the sense of, we got 64 ported once, and that was on the DS, which is still to this day Nintendo's best-selling hardware, period. Like whether it be console or handheld, it is the best selling hardware that Nintendo has. So they knew that was just like, this is worth the port, this is worth the investment. And like with Switch, like selling like hotcakes, continuing to selling like hotcakes, and they, it probably having 3 to 4 more years before whatever Nintendo's next console is, and I would be absolutely dumbfounded if it's like whatever Nintendo's next console is doesn't play Switch games. Like, I think that they knew this time around that like this, even though it was the 35th anniversary, they're like, these ports are worth it. Like, this is worth the investment. Like, I feel like that they kind of undersell their systems if they aren't selling well. Does that make sense? It's kind of hard, like a weird a weird way to look at it. But Nintendo's just so weird with all their business practices that I just feel like, this was, the Wii was too early, even though how successful the Wii was. The Wii was too early to port the Wii and to port Sunshine, and ports weren't as much of a thing back then either. So I think that like this was like the perfect and first time where, they like Nintendo knows that they're sitting on gold with these Mario games. So they're like, this is now the time to do that and make a shit ton of money. So that's kind of like why I feel that way about that. But also what you're saying with Cappy, like I get what you're saying. Like what you're saying totally makes a lot of sense based off of how Cappy is like, yeah, it's a mechanic around the game, but it still focuses on the running and the jumping and that type of thing instead of Flood, which kind of removes that to a lesser degree. So I agree what you're saying with that, Brendan, but I also feel like that Nintendo has like a certain weird way of thinking when it comes to porting their games, specifically their Mario titles.
Yeah.
Since this is a conversation about ranking the 3D Mario games, I think if you look at the 3D All-Star Collection that just came out today, I think that part of the reason why they didn't just release those 3 games separately for $30 to $40 each, because people would have bought them.
Yep.
Sunshine would have sold the least out of those 3 games, 100%. And I think that's an important thing to think about when we're ranking these games, 1 through 7.
I don't know if that. Like, here's the thing. Like, I think that's true, but I also feel like Sunshine in general has been the least played in general. Like, people are gonna they're gonna easily rebuy the games that they've already played, but like the ones that they haven't played, they'll be like, some people will be like right on it, but some will be like, like I don't know if I want to play, like get Sunshine straight away, or I don't want to get Galaxy straight away, or things like that. So I get what you're saying, but I don't know how much weight that really carries in the discussion.
Because the speedrunning community would have been all over that.
Well,
yeah.
And also as an outsider for Sunshine, it's like that is the reason I bought this collection, is because now I can play this for the very first time, and I can play Galaxy for the very first time. But it's not Super Mario 64 that I wanted; it was those two. Like, I think that
like for me, I recently played Galaxy back on when I had a Wii U. I wish I kept my Wii U, but I didn't. And but when I was hearing the rumors, all I was really hyped for was to be able to play Sunshine again. I was just like, yes, I want to play Sunshine. I don't know. I feel like Sunshine is a very divisive game. Some people like it for what me and Asa said, like for how different it is, how it took risks, and how there will probably never be another 3D game like Mario, like Sunshine again. But then again, I think Brendan, what you say about it does hold some truth and validity to it as well. Sam, you've been awfully quiet. What do you think about Sunshine?
I'm just taking it all in. So I really enjoyed Sunshine. I think what it done really damn well. I just think some weird design choices let it down and hurt it a little bit. Some of the awkward platforming stars that just drop you in the middle of nowhere kind of hurt it more than it should have done. Again, like you said earlier, they're all 9 out of 10 games, but I just think there's weird choices that hurt Sunshine.
Okay. Well, now we're gonna get to, unless anyone has any last minute statements, we're gonna get to the hard part here. and say which where do we think this? Do we think this goes above 64 or under 64?
Below.
I think it goes above 64.
All right, Nick, you haven't played Sunshine, but based off the discussions, what would you say?
Man, I gotta say, I
Don't
want
you
to
dare.
put
Don't
Super Mario
dare.
Sunshine above 64 because I've been so curious, man. I am so curious. And
Okay.
from what you guys have said, the mechanic of being able the side mechanic is what I like in Mario games. Odyssey is what I like, and you guys compared it to Odyssey with the cap, and that makes me think it'd be better. But
See, Odyssey is a good.
You would enjoy it more.
Odyssey
You would
is
enjoy it
a
more.
much better game.
It is.
in terms of impact and overall scope, 64.
Oh, come on.
64. You can't
Okay.
doubt the power of 64.
Yeah. So here's the thing with me. Like, I think I like Sunshine much more than I like 64. But I think that just again, kind of based off of like the significance of 64 and how like it's a timeless game and things like that. I think that just like in an objective standpoint, 64 is a better game. So so 64 still at number 1, Sunshine at number 2. Next up, we got which I think this is gonna be the most interesting right now. But like we got Super Mario Galaxy next. How do we feel about Super Mario Galaxy? I'll let other people go first on this one. Brendan.
Galaxy was. Oh god.
Oh, no, go
Okay,
ahead,
Sam. All right, Sam.
I
Go.
was just going to say, Galaxy's a masterclass in level design. If we want to talk about, like 64 had its flaws in the level design, Galaxy was as close to perfect as you're going to get in that aspect, at least. I think the gravity mechanics on the different planets were clever. The whole game's just very well thought out.
So I agree with you completely. The thing that really hurts Galaxy for me, I think it is a spectacle. Like when I played it, I was just like, even though it's not one of my favorite 3D Mario games, I was like, this game's special. Like I knew from playing it. But I will say the main thing that really hurts it for me is the motion controls. The motion controls were really rough. Like I can't tell you how many times. Because the thing with me, and we'll get to it, but there's a specific 3D Mario game that I really, really love, specifically because I feel like all of the mistakes that I make are because of me solely, not because of the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I feel like Galaxy, and Galaxy 2 is the only Galaxy or 3D Mario game I haven't played. So I don't know if they make it better in Galaxy 2, but I just hated how many times I died because of something that I could not control, or that it was something that was just something that was just so finicky. And I understand that like Nintendo likes to put like those interesting peripherals into their games, and specifically Mario games from like Galaxy on. But that is the thing that really hurts me personally, and I think that in the long run won't hold up for that game very well. I agree that the level design is great, but from a gameplay perspective, I think it hurts it a lot for me.
That's fair.
So
Brendan, you were going to say something.
I love Galaxy. I mean, it's not on the top of my personal list. I think Galaxy, both games are great games. I think they introduce some interesting power-ups. I think the level design, like Sam said, is really good. And I think I don't know if the soundtrack is actually orchestrated, but if it's computer generated, it sounds orchestrated. And the soundtrack is incredible. I love the music in Galaxy. So I think Galaxy has like some of the best elements of a Mario game. But I personally think that I have enjoyed other games on this list a little bit more than Galaxy. I still think it's better than Sunshine, though. Sorry.
Oh, I disagree. I disagree there. Asa.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's because I feel like 2 just did everything so much better, but in all honesty, Galaxy for me is below 64 and Sunshine. Because I feel like 2 did it so much better, and I wasn't a huge fan of the motion controls, But going back to what we said before, all these games are like 9s and 10s. It's still a fantastic game. I still really enjoyed it. But I didn't finish Galaxy 1 because I just couldn't hang with the motion controls. It was just getting on my nerves. And I think the whole going from like orb to orb, with the planet structure, I wasn't about it yet. Not until 2. Once 2 came around, it felt more complete to me for whatever reason, and I enjoyed it a whole lot more because I actually finished that one. But yeah, I mean, Galaxy it's a fine game. It's on the collection.
No, I'm very happy about having Galaxy on Switch, but like out of those 3 games, that is the game I like least cared about. I honestly wish it had Galaxy 2 because I just haven't played that one. But I agree. Again, like Galaxy is fantastic, and it has a buttload of content compared to 64 and Sunshine. Absurd amount of content. Like you get to play the game as Luigi once you beat the game as Mario. Like super cool, super cool things that game does.
Which let that be a testament. As I prefer Luigi over Mario, it still doesn't top those other 2 games.
Yeah. So so are we? Well, okay. So Nick, did you want to say anything?
I was just gonna say, as somebody who again hasn't played that or the Galaxy games were always the least like gameplay aesthetically pleasing to me, just because of the Galaxy mechanic. I like the 3D Marios based in like a 3D Mario-esque way, if that makes any sort of sense.
Ground.
Yeah, like you don't like how it's like, there'll be like a circle and you're just running around the circle and the camera shifting and things like that.
I like the traditional 3D Mario, but that also is just me. Who knows? I might play Galaxy and be like, oh, like I'm already waiting where I'm just like, I'm gonna be mad at myself after this list because I'm like, Sunshine should have been higher, Galaxy should have been higher, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah. So, but okay. So, who thinks Galaxy should be at the bottom of this list?
I might have to agree with that.
All right, that's the majority, so we don't have to go any further.
Sorry.
All right, Sam, again, like, you're leveled. Everything you said, 100% true. 100% true. It's just the motion controls just really hurt that game for most of us. So, yeah, so next up, we have Galaxy 2. This is the one I haven't played. All I will say on my end, from just word of mouth, is that I've heard that it betters in gameplay, and the level design is still great. But I heard that a lot of people really missed kind of like the hub world that you go to with Rosalina and stuff to go to missions. It just like made it feel more like a actual world that you're experiencing in than just like going from ship to ship or ship level to level and then that's the end of it all. But that's all I really have heard personally, word of mouth. So for me, it seems like it would go above Galaxy as a whole, I would say, just from what I've heard and like just my preference in games. But I'm gonna leave that up to you guys if I have to, and I'll be the kind of like the split. If there's a split vote, I'll determine based off the arguments and stuff like that. So Brenden, you haven't started a conversation yet. How do you feel about Galaxy 2?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Of all of these games, I think the Galaxy games, which again I think are great games, are probably maybe not Sunshine, but Galaxy 2, I think it does a lot more for the 2 Galaxy games, just because it takes all of the good stuff from Galaxy for the most part and just adds on it and tweaks things and adds power-ups. And I don't believe Yoshi's in the first Galaxy game, but he's in the second game. So yeah. I mean, there's a lot more there. So I would probably personally put it above Galaxy, no problem, just because I feel like it's less of a sequel and more of an expansion of the first game, kind of, in my mind.
Okay. Sam.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I think it's interesting that Nintendo decided to go back to that world. Like, you never see them iterate on a game to that level. Whether it is a sequel, pseudo sequel, whatever you want to call it, you could tell Nintendo had something special by the fact that they went back to it and improved on it. I would agree that it's a better game, but I think there's a lot to be said about both Galaxy games that Nintendo wanted to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really good argument for Galaxy or Galaxy 2 not being at the bottom, because it is the only Mario game that they decided needed to be revisited.
Here's what I was going to say about that, because I was thinking the opposite. I think that the reason why they did do a sequel was because, one, at the time, Super Mario Galaxy was like 10 out of 10s across the board, like people were praising it, things like that, and but in the Wii was just like their most successful console to date. That they were just like, oh, this game is selling like hotcakes. We should actually do a sequel while we have this user base and things like that. That's kind of like how I see it, and I feel like Odyssey's gonna get a sequel as well.
I think we would have already seen an Odyssey sequel if we were going to get one, and it's been the same amount of time, 3 years between the releases. So
I feel like based off of the structure of like Galaxy compared to Odyssey, it would be easier to make a Galaxy sequel than it would be an Odyssey sequel.
Well, see, and I always felt that Galaxy 2 happened because they weren't fully pleased with Galaxy 1. Because I was playing Galaxy 2 and I thought, oh, this is what I wanted Galaxy 1 to be. Like, I couldn't stop thinking that the entire time.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to go based off of like assumptions on how Nintendo thinks, because we don't know what that company thinks.
Yeah. No.
So, but yeah, so I mean, Nick, do you have anything that you want to say based off of what you heard?
Not anything from what initially was said. I again, it's the same thing where I'm just like, this doesn't do it for me aesthetically. I think based on the arguments that we have here, it doesn't feel like it's a very strong, it stated Mario game in the franchise. So I am kind of indifferent. Yes.
I'm really interested to hear what you think of Galaxy playing it for the first time, Nick, because I think it's going to blow your mind, and I think all of these thoughts about where you're not sure about the aesthetics and the vibe of it, I think you're going to eat your words after playing it, and that's
I'm telling you. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
I agree. Again, as someone who like personally wasn't, Galaxy's not one of my favorites. Recognized when I played the game, I was like, this game is super special, which I didn't even get from like Sunshine. Like, even though I like Sunshine more, I was like, this is a very special game. In the sense of just like the wonder of traveling through each level in the space, and just it's just a very beautiful game. I agree completely. And then and from what it sounds like, Galaxy 2 just makes that and somehow does it better, which is crazy to think about. So
yeah,
I think we're kind of like all in agreement that it goes above Galaxy 1 then.
Definitely above Galaxy 1. I don't think that I'm going to get any agreements, but never mind. I was going to say I'd put it above 64, but
I would go below 64 above Sunshine personally.
Same.
But I would have done that with the first Galaxy.
Well,
I wouldn't.
I would disagree, but so
right next to each other.
Let's do it.
Sunshine needs to be above the Galaxy games.
Yeah. So here's the thing. What makes for Brenden, because you voted for Galaxy under Sunshine.
I did not.
Yes, you did. You did.
Well, no, I agreed that Galaxy sure can be on the bottom, and then I said it's not better than Sunshine. On my personal list, Sunshine is on the bottom of these 7 games. On my personal list.
Okay, well, you're insane. So based off of the list currently, what would make? Okay, but you agree? You're okay with?
I guess I'm fine with Galaxy 1 being on the bottom, because it's kind of weird. It's hard to separate Galaxy 1 and 2. Like, you might as well just make them the same game for this conversation.
That's why I'm asking, like, why would you put Galaxy 2 over Sunshine, but then let Galaxy under Sunshine on this list particularly?
I think if I'm going to look at the Galaxy games, I just think overall Galaxy 2 is a better game than Galaxy 1. So that's why I'm fine with Galaxy 1 if everyone wants to put it at the bottom, sure. Because I think the Galaxy 2 is just a better rendition of the Galaxy game.
Sure.
But I mean, in regards to the Sunshine argument, if that's what you're asking, I think that what it's trying to do at its core, what Galaxy's trying to do at its core, I think it does better than what Sunshine is trying to do at its core.
Yeah.
All right, final rankings.
Okay.
Who thinks it's better than Galaxy?
Wait, 2? You're talking about 2 is better than
Galaxy.
Two's better than
Who
Galaxy.
thinks it's better than Sunshine? And the list stands.
Yep, and so it goes under Sunshine.
Nope. So right now we
Dude,
have
people
number
are
one.
gonna roast us in the comments. People are gonna be like,
I know.
these guys don't know what they're talking about.
Right now at number 1 we have Super Mario 64. At number 2 we have Super Mario Sunshine. At number 3 we have Super Mario Galaxy 2. And at number 4 we have Super Mario Galaxy. Continue on the list. Mario.
All right.
3D Land.
3D Land. All right. So Mario 3D Land, the one.
I've played 3D Land.
So 3D Land. I want to just say right now that it is like one of the best 3DS titles by far. Like anyone, I would probably say that it is my favorite after Fire Emblem Awakening, probably. Like, especially of like the first party Nintendo titles. I think Fire Emblem Awakening is the best game on the 3DS. But with that being said, I definitely think it's at the bottom of this list. Like, it is
no.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Make the argument.
I agree.
Make the argument, Brenden.
Make the no, because we know. Yeah, I brought Brenden on primarily because one, I know he loves Nintendo, but two, I know that he's a big Mario 3D fan, as you can see in his background.
It does not get the love that it deserves. It does not get the love that it deserves.
No.
It's great.
Tell
It's
that to
absolutely
Sunshine.
great. It's absolutely fantastic. It's just, I just feel like it's a. I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but like when the sense of like,
not.
but in the sense of like comparing it to 3D World, which is the next game we're going to talk about, 3D World just does everything 3D Land does, but just miles better. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, like a bad game, but it's just like it's basically a sequel, a bigger and better sequel in every way, in my opinion. And while all these other games outside of like the Galaxy, like the 2D Galaxy games, give something different, but then I just like the Galaxy games more. That's why I would put 3D Land at the bottom. Again, great game.
I feel like with that justification, Super Mario 64 should be at the bottom of the list because it is the reason for all of these other games, and all these other games wouldn't exist without it. I mean, that's 3D World wouldn't exist without 3D Land. Are we?
I mean, it's like yes, but like not in the same way, not remotely in the same way as. So, I love
3D World, and when we get to 3D World will rank on this list higher for me than 3D Land. But here's why 3D Land does not deserve to be at the bottom, and why it's a very special game.
Okay, explain. I know.
It is probably the only game on this list that fully utilizes the hardware that it's on. It has probably the best use of the 3D on the 3DS, where not only is it's not just visual, it aids in the platforming. If you have the 3D dial turned on, it is absolutely like helps with depth perception, and it's part of the platforming mechanics. It's 100% part of that game. Can you play it without it? Absolutely. But is the game enhanced with it? For sure. Plenty of games on the 3DS, I would not turn the 3D on and I would just play without it, and it wouldn't affect me in any way. If you play 3D Land without the 3D on, not only is the game a little bit harder in certain aspects, but it's also just not like the complete package of that game. It has Street Pass elements. So again, it's utilizing all this stuff. It has gyroscopic elements that aren't like over encumbering the game. They're just there in little ways. So it completely utilizes what makes the 3DS a special platform, where the others not necessarily. I mean, waggle controls in Galaxy is a hindrance to the Galaxy games. I think we're all agreeing there on that. Whereas for the 3DS as a platform, it's that. Not only is it the best platformer on the 3DS. I think for some of these arguments, especially in the Sunshine one, you could probably find another platformer that's just as good, or people like more than Sunshine on the GameCube. Where on the 3DS, point to me a platformer that's better than 3D Land.
I mean, there isn't.
There is not, exactly.
isn't.
I guarantee that if you were to put up a poll right now on Twitter and said, what's the better platformer on GameCube? And you wrote like Sonic Adventure 2 and Super Mario Sunshine, you're going to have a way closer argument. And I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true. But I think you will have
Sonic Adventure 2 more than Sunshine, but it's not because of the platforming. I don't know. Because Sonic Adventure 2 isn't a platformer.
Yeah,
Not really.
It's a platformer more than anything else. What else would it be?
a running game.
Oh yeah, you run,
It's a running sim.
and yeah, it's like it's arcadey, like running. It's just like its own. It's kind of like its own thing. Like I don't consider it a platformer for
I never
sure.
considered Sonic
Yeah.
really a platformer.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
it is, but sure. So
not
thing-
very loosely.
Let's
other things that 3D Land does that I think deserves to be talked about. It introduces the Boomerang Suit, which goes on to make appearances in several other games after that. Not every
Boomerang
Mario
Suit's
game
good.
has that. Not every Mario game has an element that becomes a prominent element later on. And I think it's the first time that both enemies and Bowser utilize power-ups that are typically only available for Mario characters. So you have Bowser and Goombas and other enemies using the Tanuki tail, which is a big part of that game. So it did a lot for Mario that wasn't being done previously. And every other game since then has utilized elements of 3D Land. I think 3D Land is a very underappreciated game because it's a handheld game.
I would agree with that statement and most of what you said. And I wouldn't put it at the very bottom, but I would put it right above Galaxy.
That's what I was thinking.
Here's the thing. Like everything that you're saying is absolutely valid.
And I love the game.
Yeah, absolutely valid. But it just I don't know. It didn't.
It doesn't feel special.
It just doesn't feel special. It just doesn't feel. It doesn't. Hold on. It introduces some great things. It has it does all those things that you say are completely valid, but it just doesn't. It just doesn't feel like. It just doesn't have that spark that I feel like all other Mario games have. Except for maybe
You're gonna regret that argument when we get to 3D World.
I'm so confused because for me, 3D Land is immensely more special to me than Sunshine, Galaxy, and Sunshine and Galaxy
really
for sure.
Really disagree on Galaxy for sure. Galaxy.
Man,
I think Galaxy's. I think Galaxy just being special of the games that we've played of we talked about so far is the most special. Like it just, I don't know, just this again, like the sense of wonder and just joyousness that I got from playing Galaxy. I there's only one other game, even though Galaxy would probably would not be on the higher end of my list. Probably it would be more in the middle. Like there's only one other game that made me feel that way, which we haven't talked about yet. So
3D Land, by the way, you get to the end of the 8th world, you beat Bowser's Castle, and guess what? You have 8 more worlds after that. That game is humongous. It is jam-packed. It has 16 worlds. Granted, worlds are, I don't know, probably anywhere from 5 to 7 levels or something. But it is a humongous adventure. It is absolutely should not be at the bottom of this list. It should be above Sunshine.
Brenden, you have to remember, we think all of these games are fucking fantastic.
Absolutely, but there's the Sunshine and below games, and then there's the Sunshine and above games, and this is definitely an above Sunshine game.
Sam, what do you have to say before we close out the 3D Land?
Even if Sunshine was for some reason on the bottom of the list, which I do not agree should be the case. There's no way I could put it above the Galaxy games. I just can't. I just feel like that the Galaxy games give a unique experience that no other Mario game, no other game period I have gotten that type of feeling from. And I just, even though
That
even though
failing
it's not
couldn't be
one of
that
my favorites,
That failing couldn't be that special though if you willingly put Galaxy on the bottom of the list.
when the motion controls and the gameplay like are affected, then sure. But like just the atmosphere, the aesthetic,
The
again, just like
personality of it.
the personality of it is just unmatched. Like in that, or it's not unmatched, but it's solely unique. And I'm sure like Galaxy 2 has that too, but like with Galaxy, it's like it's the first one that did it. It is the one that did it first. And so for me, it's just like I really enjoy 3D Land. It's just I can't in good conscience put it above Galaxy. So I don't know. Like for me, like there's nothing. I promise you, Brendan, there's nothing you can say to me that will make me not want this on the bottom of the list right now. So for me, I feel terrible.
Who do I have to convince?
For me,
is it a bottom list for everyone?
You convinced me, Doggy Dog. Hell
yes, that's what I'm talking about.
But listen, it's bottom of the list because like I go to 3D Land for like just a good old Mario experience, but I play some of these other games to feel a grand adventure. I don't feel a grand adventure with 3D Land. I just feel solid platforming, a really freaking good time, and some great memories during my lunch break at work.
That's what I mean by it doesn't feel special. I'm not discounting the game at all. Blah, blah, blah. Fantastic game, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't give you that sense of wonder. Like when you boot up Galaxy and you go to that first planet, or 64 and you jump through that first painting, like it just doesn't have that feeling about it for me, personally.
And with that, I think Brenden lost my vote. So, where we put
like
this, guys?
3D Land is like 9.5 out of 10 game. Like it is so good. It is so good.
It's a 10 out of 10. You can't give me something wrong about that game. You cannot give me something wrong about that game. For a handheld 3D Mario game,
it's great. It's great
for a handheld 3D platformer. Nothing touches that.
But I mean, they put 64
honestly,
on the DS.
When it comes to the argument of like whether it's a 10 or not, I just haven't played the game recently enough to have that discussion. I really hope and I think that 3D Land will be ported to Switch, but that's a whole nother conversation. So right now it's on the bottom of the list. You can write an incredible little paragraph about it for the site, and people are going to love it.
What about putting it above Galaxy, not all the way on the bottom?
No,
because I had more fun.
That's
Galaxy.
The only way. That's the only way I was seeing it. But the fact that Asa, when you go to these other games,
don't
they
you
feel
throw
like
my
an
words
adventure.
in my own face.
They feel like an adventure. They
fine,
do. And I have played, and as someone who has played 3D Land, like it does feel like a Mario experience, which is perfect and wonderful. And I think we'll have some heated discussions when we get to the next one. But
what we will do, once we go through all the games, we'll talk about any last second changes. So definitely keep that in mind. So next up,
at the bottom.
I can't wait to bring up Play Fighter 64 and put it on the top of the list.
Next up, we have Super Mario 3D World, which originally released on the Wii U. I'm going to start this one because I am spearheading this conversation. 3D World is the best 3D Mario game. It ain't even close. Y'all. 3D World is the best platformer I've ever played in my entire life, and it ain't even close. The cat suit is the best suit in Mario, period. It is the soundtrack is the best Mario soundtrack of any game ever. It is absolutely incredible. Has some of the hardest, it has incredibly hard Mario levels, both in the main game and after you beat the game. Incredibly hard. Here's the thing. I'm not out of everyone here, I am probably, even Nick, who's only played 3 Mario games, I probably like Mario as a franchise the least. But Super Mario 3D World is like, there's no such thing as a perfect game. But if someone had to ask me what is the closest thing to a perfect game, I would say Super Mario 3D World. Super Mario 3D World just has everything. It just has everything. It is vibrant. The colors, the variety and levels, like the usage of specific characters and how you do the platforming, adding more replayability. specifically like when you play as Peach, like it's the first time you can play as Rosalina in any game. That isn't that's a platformer.
Smash.
That's a platformer.
Yeah.
It is just absolutely incredible. It's just it's just like a flawless game to me. And again, like I'm not even that big of a Mario fan. I just absolutely floored with that game, and it is so incredible. I just love it so much. I just can't think of anything wrong with that game. It's just so good.
Sam,
So
thoughts?
everyone tell me how I'm wrong.
Yep.
No. Everyone tell me how I'm wrong now.
My thoughts are so I've completed these 6 other games. This is the one that I've not played. I'm so stoked to play it based on how much Cam loves it. But
Oh my God, it's so good.
I'm really looking forward to when it comes out on the Switch next year. But I couldn't put it above 64.
Oh, it's better than 64. I'm sorry, it's better than 64.
It is. It's better than 64.
It is. It really is. I'm telling you, like it's better than 64. Like there's so many people, like everyone who has played 3D World knows how good 3D World is, and everyone else that hasn't played 3D World doesn't like to take it seriously because it was on the Wii U. And it's bullshit because the Wii U has a great library of games.
I love the Wii U. I love the Wii. Like you said, great games. I just never got around to it.
Asa, have you played
Yeah.
3D World?
One more thing I want to bring up. One thing that, in general, with all platformers, but specifically Mario platformers, is I get so frustrated, which I brought up in Galaxy, about like how I die from things that I can't control. Every time I died in World, I wasn't mad. It was my fault. I was just like, nope, I fucked up. I need to do better. Let's do it again. Like I'd never had that experience in World. It's the one Mario game where I just have never felt that like I got bullshitted over by the controls, by the mechanics. It's perfect. I love it.
All right. Let's go over here to Asa. What do you have to say about this?
3D World is my number 2 favorite 3D Mario game.
Okay.
It is absolutely fantastic. I agree with like 90% of everything that the game was saying. The only things that I would extract from that don't make it number 1, and we haven't talked about my number 1 Mario game yet, is because it gives me the option to play as someone else, and I would much rather play as Luigi in that game than play as Mario. So it not being a holistically Mario game pulls it away, and then also the grand sense of scale. I don't want to say, and this was one of the things that came in with like 3D Land as well.
Land. That's why I was.
What you guys know?
Is I felt very constrained, and no, I didn't feel constrained with Sunshine. Like when I was playing Sunshine, I felt the world. I just felt like I was escaping somewhere else. But 3D World was a better iteration on 3D Land in that I felt like I was just having a fantastic platforming experience, really good fun. The multiplayer was a blast, but it's my number 2. Like it's not a bad thing, but it's my number 2.
Brenden,
it's my number 1.
So I want to preface this. Cam and I have had many conversations about this. I don't consider 3D Land or 3D World actual 3D Mario games.
Me either.
But for the sake of this conversation, because we're including them, I do think that 3D World is a 10 out of 10. It is not, again, because I don't think it's a 3D game. I don't think it's the best 3D Mario game because it's. I think that if you're going to lump it with the
on the criticism, based on the criteria of this conversation.
Sure. So with us including it as a 3D Mario game, I don't think that it is better than 2 other games on the list, and one of them is not 3D Land. I will get to those at the end, but okay. I think that this game absolutely deserves to be number 3 on this list.
No, it deserves to be higher than 3. I'm sorry.
It's not a better It is not a better 3D Mario game than Mario 64. It is not.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes,
It's not.
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry. I mean,
Yes, it is. The level design's better. The platforming's more fun.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But so some of the strikes
So why is
against
it not better then?
because some of the strikes against
Yep.
3D Land are the same strikes against 3D World. It doesn't feel like a grand adventure. It's not a grand adventure.
Oh, it definitely does.
It's
it
not.
definitely does.
You can't tell me that you walk into Galaxy and have this, quote unquote sense of, walking into this big world. It's an experience. It's this big adventure. I love 3D World. It is absolutely one of my favorite games of all time. If you're going to use the argument against 3D Land that it's not a grand adventure, 3D World's not a grand adventure. It's a fantastic platformer. It's probably the best platforming Mario game as just base platform mechanics. It's probably the tightest, most cohesive platforming game. The level design's fantastic, but it's what 2D Mario games usually are. They might have some through lines in worlds, but it's not an open world 3D adventure. It's not this grand adventure. It is
Gosh, darn it.
it is level to level
He's swaying me.
grouped into worlds.
That's
I'm
where
not
it falls down for me,
See,
having
I'm
not
not-
played it.
I'm not basing it based off of like of that. I'm basing it off of like the.
But that's what you said against 3D Land. So I'm going to bring
I
those.
said it. No, I said it based off of the personality. No, Sam said that. I said it. I based it off of like the personality, the aesthetic, the sense of joy and wonder, and like 3D World. Even though like I get mad about like dying and stuff like that, like 3D World is the only 3D Mario game I played where I was just continuously smiling, like just having like just joy, pure joy radiating from me from any other 3D, like any Mario game. I was just like, and it's just like, it was the first Mario game, even though I love Sunshine, it was the first Mario game I played where I was just like, is this how people feel about every Mario game? Like, that's how I feel about 3D World. It's just the pure sense of just absolute joy. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just can't, there's nothing that I really don't know any real legitimate criticism of that game as a game. I just don't.
I agree with you on most of the things you're saying. I think it's a 10 out of 10. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's one of my favorite games of all time. I just think when you're going to compare it to the other 3D Mario games that are open world adventures, I think it loses points in that category. And I think that for me does not let it be number one.
Well, and go
Because
and
it's not a
going-
3D.
Here's the thing. Here's the reason why I put 3D Land on the bottom. I think that 3D World is just a better version of Land in every single way, while all these other Mario games, not including Galaxy 2 because I haven't played it, give something give something unique and new that stand out on its own, that like 3D World, it makes kind of 3D Land for me personally a little bit irrelevant, because 3D World is just bigger, better in every single way. And and even as someone who loved 3D World, like I didn't feel that type of, that feeling that I got when I played 3D Land. It was just like, oh, this is fun, like I enjoy it, but like it just didn't have anything to like really like lift my skirt up, for lack of a better term. I don't know, but 3D World, I was just like,
Listen,
I was just continuously blown away.
I love 3D Land. I think 3D World is a better Mario game. I love 3D World, but I also love 3D Land. I just think in this conversation with these 7 games all being categorized and ranked, I don't think it's the best 3D Mario game.
Since
Disagree.
we're running short on time,
We have 8
so
minutes left.
I'm gonna leave you with one last point that is for all all overall. What does it do that's revolutionary? That these other games don't do, or that they have done? Because most of these games, like Galaxy, Sunshine, and 64, all do something that's revolutionary. What is something that's revolutionary that can be said about 3D?
I would say it's mechanics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Personally. And
Yeah,
I
I
would.
think-
That's why I would put it at a 3, because Brenden swayed me. I wouldn't put it at 2 anymore. I'd put it
think
at
it's a-
3 underneath 64.
I think it's the best plot. Again, I think it's the best, like from a mechanics standpoint, even more than Odyssey. I think it's the best platformer I played ever.
It is absolutely one of the best platformers. It's not the best 3D open world Mario game because it's not a 3D or open world Mario game.
Well, we're not going based off that, Brendan.
Shot
So
yourself in the foot.
No, we already went across that in the beginning. We're not having that conversation right now. But
All right.
we're basing it. But anyway, because
Yes.
technically, Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are in the same are the same way as 3D World,
Yep.
3D Land. So
Yeah,
that's a stupid.
technically they are.
Yeah. So let's not go into that.
Yep. Votes.
Yeah. So
Who
for
thinks-
for me, it's at number one. I'm just gonna. I think it's at number one. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it has the best gameplay. I think it has the best mechanics. I think it has the best soundtrack. It is just, for me, the perfect Mario experience.
So for
It doesn't it doesn't have to break barriers or anything like that. I think it's just completely perfect across everything it does. So
okay, so who thinks it's better than 3D Land?
I think it's
I think it's
Gonna
under
go-
64.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
we need to decide whether it goes at 1 or 2 at this point.
Okay,
It's
so we
not-
have 64 at number 1, right? 64 at number
Yeah.
1.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Sunshine.
Who thinks hold on. Who thinks it should be above Sunshine's number 2 right now, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Who thinks it should be above Sunshine? All right, that's
I'll
3.
go yes because
4. Okay. Who
That's
thinks it should be above 64? Y'all are wrong. Y'all are fucking wrong.
I don't know, man.
I thought at least Brendan would have been with me, but I guess not.
Listen, I love it, but it's
No.
really hard to put these games up against Odyssey, which I think is the best Mario game.
Yep.
No,
Agreed.
it's not.
So let's talk about Odyssey.
Yeah,
All right,
talk
so
about
we
Odyssey.
can just put it at number 1 then.
go on,
Odyssey-
so you start with Odyssey. I know how you're itching to get this one in there.
Yeah, I'm itching to talk about Odyssey because it is hands down. I said this at the very beginning. There are a few games that I just think about the memories and the experiences of playing a certain game all the time, and Odyssey is absolutely one of those. If I'm in a dark place, if it's been a rough day, I can easily think back, even if I'm struggling trying to get all of the 999 moons, like I'm still thinking about the pleasant memories of Sunshine. The tight platforming, the worlds, the music, the character. Okay, that you can do co-op, and I know that yes, 3D World had the 4-player co-op, but I mean that I could sit down with my wife and just share this actually grand story experience with her. Like I think it's unparalleled. I don't think any other. I think it's built upon what every other game before it did, and put it into one complete package.
I totally agree. I think what Odyssey does really well is big moments. So early on, you take over that T-Rex, and it's like, holy shit! Like,
Yes, oh,
I'm a damn T-Rex
the
now.
dragon.
And you fight the dragon. The New Donk City, where you play the music video, phenomenal.
Yes.
And then you beat the game, and you end up at Peach's Castle. Is a whole world, and you unlock stars in
You
Peach's
get the
Castle.
64 suit. Like
Mhm.
everything about this game is a celebration of Mario in every single capacity. Like we didn't even talk about the fact that it goes 2D. Like I know we're talking about 3D games, but the fact that there are those scenes and they don't just go to 2D, no matter what suit you're wearing, it also gets translated to 2D. The coins, whether they're like the triangles or no matter what, like those are, I feel like everything was so carefully crafted in this game. And New Donk City, that's like,
Mhm.
I feel like we could have a discussion about New Donk City alone.
Well,
That is Mario.
well, and even like
everything
talking about the soundtrack, that is, I will listen to that soundtrack when I'm walking down the street.
Yes.
Even just
Listen to
every
3D
song
World,
is
it's
so
better.
good.
It's better.
I mean,
3D World is
listen.
better.
I've listened to 5 different lo-fi versions of Jump Up Superstar, and I
Yep.
can't get enough.
Yep.
Like, give me more.
Brendan, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think to kind of echo just some of the stuff that Asa and Sam said, it is an embodiment of what we've seen from Mario since the beginning. It really takes, especially from the 3D games, it takes all of the elements of those games that made them good and makes them all better. It amplifies them.
Yep.
It has fantastic music. It has a game that's built around a mechanic like Sunshine. So with Cappy, it takes a new mechanic that changes the gameplay, platforming. You're capturing enemies, and that helps you solve puzzles and get stars and beat levels and stuff. It takes the open world aspect that 64 and Sunshine had and completely blows it up. Like if we're talking about simply just an open world in a Mario game, Odyssey is that, and it captures it so well. And when you're talking about having this sense of grand adventure, a grand experience when you're playing Mario, all of those kingdoms are so different and so varied. And every time I unlocked one and went somewhere, I felt like I was in not a whole new game, but I felt like I was in this whole new setting.
Yeah.
I really do think it takes a lot of the elements of previous Mario games and makes them all better. I don't think that there's really anything bad to say about the game. The only thing I can think of that would even be a strike against it isn't even really a strike against it, which is, is there 999 moons?
There's
Power
8,
moons?
yeah.
So like there's a lot to collect, and it feels like you're collecting a lot of stuff by kind of doing nothing. Like some of the stuff just seems, quote unquote uninspired. But I think that's just a smart way of allowing, casual gamers, kids, people who don't care, or people that just want to experience the game from start to finish, let them do that without feeling too many roadblocks. But it allows, with some of the harder levels, and definitely the late game levels, like the post game levels are very. Yeah, Dark Side of the Moon is so difficult. Like there is the challenge there if you want it, which I think Nintendo is usually, with certain games, very good about capturing. Let's make this accessible and easy for everyone, but let's also have that stuff there for people who want a challenge, who want this difficult stuff. 3D World had that too, but this is a better game than everything else that we've talked about today, in my opinion.
Cam, counterpoints.
Y'all are holding hands on everything, so whatever I say doesn't matter. But you're probably
not going to sway me but
here's the thing. I've played Odyssey. I didn't finish it. Like that's just not because I didn't like it or anything like that. It's just like there's other games, and here's the thing. Here's the thing with me with Mario games. Like for most time I play them, I'm just like, even though like they do a lot of cool things and things, I'm just like, oh, it's just another Mario game. That's how I feel about Mario. That's how I feel about a lot of Nintendo's first party stuff, and that's not particularly a bad thing, but for me it's just like, oh, it's just more Mario, and that's fine. But like just for 3D World, I don't know, it just checked all the right boxes. It gave me reasons to want to continue playing. Like just again, with Odyssey, they implement motion controls, and again, I just don't like that.
You don't really have to use them.
I didn't use them either.
I swear there was something that you had to do. Like, can you turn it off then, or something? Or
yeah, you can just use the buttons.
Oh, thank God. Okay, I did not know that for certain.
That makes it number one. Here we go.
No. I definitely think it's one of the best 3D Mario games. I don't know. It just doesn't like the whole like capturing like things and stuff like that. Like it's cool. It's just I don't know. It's just I guess I'm just relatively particular in what I want. But I agree that it definitely is like a love letter to previous Mario games and everything like that. I just kind of wish that like just from what I experienced, like I never experienced like the more traditional like suits and things like that. And I mean, I know that it's doing Cappy, so it's like more like a Sunshine thing, but I don't know, I enjoy Sunshine's flood mechanic more. I just think it's just because I just like that it was different, because again, like it was just like, oh, this is not just another Mario game. There's something new here. And like while you can capture other people, like other creatures, and control them, I don't know, it just didn't connect with me as much. I still think it's a absolutely fantastic game, but I just think that I think 3D World for me is more like was a complete package of everything that I wanted. And again, I still think like just from platforming and controls and things like that, I think that 3D World was better in that sense. And for me, at the end of the day, when it's like when a game matters, like if it's a game that's trying to do great things with its gameplay is more important to me than anything else. So for me, that's kind of where I'm at. Again, like I think Odyssey's great. I definitely think it should be like even if you guys put it up like above like Sunshine, like I would like for me personally, like I would 100% be okay with that. Like I would be like I get it. But you know it's going at number 1, so that's fine. But you know, it's not fine. But you know,
well, Sam or Cam will be in the comments, be like, "You guys suck, DualShockers suck."
Yeah, like if
y'all are
like,
hacks.
here's the thing, like I would be content if 3D World was at number 2 and then and then Odyssey was at number 1. I'd be content. But like knowing that it's under 64, I'm just like, no, that's insane to me. But
I want to throw one more thing in favor of Odyssey is, I mean,
all y'all are voting for Odyssey. Why do you have to go?
Because
You're just digging in the wound now.
I
You
would say, does
stabbed me,
anybody have
and
anything
you're turning the wound.
against Odyssey? Does any Devil's Advocate? Tell me.
I think there's 1 or 2 bad worlds. Not even bad, average worlds. I think Luncheon Kingdom.
I don't even think that they're. I think if some of them would have been expanded more, then they would have been better. But I don't think any of the worlds are bad. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Sam, because I've heard that criticism a lot, that some people think some of the kingdoms aren't that great. But I think if they were just longer, or if they had just a little bit more to them, but I think what is still there is fantastic.
And I will say one thing. Based off of again just comparing it to 3D World because that's my favorite, and I'm just explaining it, and because it's near the top of the list. For me, from the amount that I did play of Odyssey, while it is still a platformer, it just felt more like there was like too much open space. There's too much like I just didn't feel like I was platforming enough. Like for a 3D Mario game, if that makes sense. Because you like just start off in like the desert kingdom or whatever like that, or like you know there's the like the grass one, and then there's like the desert, and it's just like there wasn't like a whole lot of platforming there. I felt like, and again like just knowing that Mario's just like that true pure platforming game. Again, like 3D World, that's all it is, and that's why I like how. That's why I like it more. That it just hones in on like what it does best. And yeah, so that's kind of like one thing that I noticed in Odyssey is just like kind of just a lot of open space, lack of platforming. So in some areas.
Yeah, it's a fair argument. Sure. All right. Well,
put that number 1.
We need.
All right.
Does anybody have like any last deliberations?
So the one thing is there like any way we can get 3D World at 2? Any possible way?
My personal list, it's a 2.
What is your?
But for this, I was fine putting it at 3.
What's your reasoning, Cam, against it being what's your reasoning against 64 being at number 2?
I think that 3D World does everything better. Simply, like I think especially level design. Level design's way better. The levels are longer. They're more fun. The music is, again, I think 3D World has the best Mario soundtrack to any Mario game, period. Whether it be 3D, 2D, spin-off, whatever you want to say, it is an absolute, like, one of the best soundtracks to a video game, period. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. The amount of content that the game has is absurd. I think it has some, like, I haven't played Galaxy 2, but, like, and I didn't do the Dark Side of the Moon, Dark Side stuff in Odyssey, but like I've just heard from word of mouth that 3D World, from people that have completed everything, all the Mario games, that 3D World literally has like the hardest Mario, like 3D Mario levels.
Period. So I have beaten Champions Road on 3D World. I can't beat Dark Side of the Moon. So I think by default I would have to say.
But even so,
harder.
just like this is comparative to 64, like. Again, like I do think that 64 will like be quote unquote like a timeless classic, but I think that 3D World also has that potential. I can't say that because I can't say it will because it's only been like 5 years since it came out, but I definitely think it has that potential. And again, I just think that everything it does, it's like I can't think of any criticisms with World. 64 level design's not super great, not a whole lot of content.
Well.
Granted, it's a 64. It like yes, it's a smaller package and it does hold up, but like I just think that 3D World just surpasses it in basically every way.
I'm not sold.
How are you not sold? Tell me what makes 64 better. Tell me what makes 64 better.
We need to get this Get
Yeah,
this
yeah.
right.
I know. Quickly, Asa, say what you want to say because you're the one who really has to dip out.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't want to eat my own words because I said it before as a big criticism of 3D Land. It is that experience of that grander story. I don't feel that grander story and that world like I do in all of the other ones. So the same criticism that I held to 3D Land, I hold to 3D World.
That's just one factor of like.
But it's a big
so
factor.
many things.
It's a big factor.
No,
I'll
might
say
be
this
in-
camp.
Go ahead.
Or go ahead.
I was just say I might be in the camp that gameplay wise for sure, but it is that factor of it being this really special thing. When I look
World
at
is special.
And that's
It
the thing is like
absolutely
I
is.
also haven't played 3D World, so I don't know. But looking on the outside, looking in, I look at Super Mario 64 and I think that's a 3D Mario game. That's a special game. I've never looked at that, but I've also looked at 3D World as a 2D game that just isn't a 3D space.
Same.
I think that what it does is fantastic. I think the gameplay on its own is definitely better than 64. So that's why I'm like swaying back and forth between.
Play 3D World?
I didn't play 3D World. I played 3D Land.
Oh well, I mean, yeah, yeah.
I'll say this to make the case for those three games being 1, 2, 3. 3D World is a modern day Super Mario World to me. I think that's a Super Mario World for a new generation. People
Super
will
Mario
look
World
back.
is considered one of the greatest games of all time. Though.
Absolutely, and so is Super Mario World. So is Super Mario 3D World. But I don't think that Super Mario World is better than 64. I think 64 is timeless. I think it's one of the best platforming games of all time. It still holds up. But I think Odyssey is a better version of Super Mario 64. So it's like Odyssey is the 64 of current times.
And
3D World, 3D World is the Super Mario World of current times. I don't think World is better than 64. I don't think 3D World is better than Odyssey. That's where I compartmentalize these games.
Super Mario World is definitely better than Super Mario 64. You're insane.
So I could have the argument before we go. I could have the argument that Sunshine would be better than 64.
No, we're not even there. That's gone.
That's a whole other thing. At this point we're arguing the top three, but
I've
I
got my GG list. I know where it sits.
I understand what you're saying, Brendan. I just fundamentally disagree that literally like IGN's list of top 100 games of all time, Super Mario World is at the top of that list.
I mean, I think Super Mario Bros. 3 is better than World as far as
2D
platformers.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is just with that comparison, it's just like 3D World.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like 64. Like 64.
I think 3D World
holds up, but when 3D World does everything better, like. How can you say that 64 is better? It's better.
Because
that doesn't make sense to me.
I think the biggest disadvantage to 3D World in this whole conversation is that I don't think it's a true.
3D.
It's not a true 3D game. That's its biggest problem.
That's not the criteria we're going.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm putting it above Sunshine and Galaxy, and 3D Land.
So top three, hands up for Odyssey at number 1, 64 at number 2, and 3D World at number 3.
You can't swear with me, Odyssey. Odyssey is one of my favorite games of all time.
Odyssey 1.
I'm okay with Odyssey, and Odyssey's on number 1. It was just can we put World above 64?
No, not for me.
Stand strong, Nick. Don't sway.
No, but like
So you
if
put it at number two.
if 64 was lower, I probably would have done it, but that's also why I voted 64 into that. So what are we doing? What are we doing here?
All right, Nick. Read off the damn list.
Yeah. So the list as it
Y'all
stands,
are so disappointing.
Super Mario Odyssey.
Can't wait. Hold on. I can't wait for Sam to play 3D World and be like, Cam was right.
I'm happy
You're
to come back.
I was saying, if we want to do a revised list.
Both of y'all are gonna be like, I was a fool. I was a fucking fool.
It's a 10 out of 10. It's absolutely a 10 out of 10.
It's better than 64. I'm sorry, Brendan. You're insane. It is better than Super Mario 64. I'm sorry.
3D Land shouldn't have been at the bottom of the list.
Yep, that's what
Whatever.
I'm saying. So
Whatever.
The list as it stands is number 7, 3D Land. Number 6, Galaxy. Number 5.
Wait, 3D Land can't be 6? It can't be above Galaxy?
No, Galaxy's way better than 3D Land.
Yeah.
Hey,
I haven't even
I took
played
an
it.
L. You
and
took
I'm
an L.
like, yeah.
I took an L. You took an L, dude.
So yes. So number 6 is Galaxy. Number 5 is Galaxy 2. Number 4 is Sunshine. Number 3 is 3D World. Number 2, Super Mario 64. And at number 1, Super Mario Odyssey. Been fun, guys.
Yeah, and that's our official list of the quote unquote definitive ranking of the 3D Mario games, including 3D World and 3D Land because they have 3D in the title. Get over it. So
I mean,
I hope you all enjoyed this conversation. I did for the most part. Still disappointed, but we might revisit this once 3D World comes out and more people play 3D World because 3D World is the best 3D Mario game, and we will get back. We might get back to that. So everyone, please do your socials and everything like that. You can follow me on Twitter at the Cinephile Guy. Sam,
Captain Woodsy over on Twitter.
You can find me at Groom and at Pass Controller on Twitter.
Nick,
you can find me at Shotgun McPain and over here at youtube.com/DualShock.
And Asa.
You can find me on Twitter at @greenriver07 and at borderline_ent. ENT.
Awesome. And yeah, so you can find all of DualShockers stuff at DualShockers.com and follow us on Twitter at DualShockers. Now, everyone, be safe, wear a mask. Goodbye.